Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy, HamzaConnection, coming at you with this Journey podcast and bringing yet another episode. So, what I want to talk about today is how we base our knowledge on secondhand experiences. Because the thing here is, and I'm going to give you an specific example that I really thought about in my life. And also where I have went wrong, and hopefully you can prevent yourself from going wrong on that path, which is pretty hard. But basically, this is the thing. This is the kicker. You ready? A lot of the things that you know, especially let me just take it with fitness, right? You read all of these studies and all of that stuff, and then you're like, oh, science shows this and science shows that. And now I'm moving into to dangerous territory where I can get a lot of hate. But how many people who actually reads those studies actually goes out there and does it? So let's say you read typical for bodybuilders, 6 meals a day, blah, 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 and all of that stuff. But then you're like, when you are recommending somebody else to do a certain thing, most of the time, you talk with conviction that it works because you saw science prove it, right? And I'm not saying science is wrong. I'm not here to defend whether 6 meals a day or whatever scientific study you read is right or wrong. I'm just trying to bring awareness to this point. Is that we base what is right and wrong based on somebody else's experience and opinions instead of going out there and verifying it for yourself. I've had this discussion a lot with some certain people that are very, very skeptical about intermittent fasting. Now, again, this podcast is not about intermittent fasting. I might do an episode on intermittent fasting because I've been doing it for a long time now. But they're like, oh, intermittent fasting is not good, yada, yada, yada. And for those of you who doesn't know what intermittent fasting is, it's basically, I'm simplifying it here. It's basically, you have 8 hours in the day where you can eat and 16 hours where you don't eat. Now, there's a lot of variation, but that's one form of intermittent fasting. And they say you can't perform, it's not a good weight, you're starving, it's not a good way to lose weight, you're starving your body, it's not healthy for you, your body needs 6 meals a day and all of that stuff. And I'm just saying, okay, cool. They base that on what? When they argue with me, they base it on what? They base it on scientific studies as like, oh, 6 meals a day has this effect on the body and all of that stuff. But the problem here is they base it on somebody else's opinion. Because I would say most of the time, they say you should do 6 meals a day. But if you spend the time, if you spend a whole day with your buddy that says that, notice how he doesn't eat 6 meals a day. Now, how are you going to be able to tell me that 6 meals a day is the best thing, and you base that on secondhand experience? Because this is the thing. Have you experimented? Have you verified it for yourself so it's not secondhand experiences, but firsthand experiences? Have you tried it out on your own body? That's the kicker. That right there is super important because you're basically playing like you know a lot of things, but you haven't done them. You haven't tried them, you haven't experimented with it, and you haven't done it for like a decent amount of time. Like you may have tried it 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, But still, now this is the kicker. They tell you all of this stuff, and you can flip it around with intermittent fasting. I could be like, oh, I read so many studies about intermittent fasting, and it's so amazing and so good, and it's supposed to be this amazing and good and all of that stuff. But if I haven't tried it, who am I to tell you guys that, oh, intermittent fasting is cool, it's awesome, it works for me? The thing here is that's super important is there's so much bullshit on the internet, so much bullshit by people that hasn't done the thing that they are talking about. And seriously, I might even do an episode on something offering you a perspective where I haven't done it fully. I can actually remember one. I did one where I was like, how you should spend your 20s, I think it was. I can't remember the exact title, but it was about like focusing on a specific thing and all of that stuff. I've lived that by the other side, by doing it wrong. Now I'm experimenting with doing it right. Maybe I presented it in a way that, oh, that's the right way because I think that's the right way, but I haven't verified it yet because have I spent 1 year of focusing and then contemplating on my life about, okay, I focused on one thing. How did this create the results that I wanted and stuff like that, and comparing it to the other aspects of my life? Like, was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Did it bring me closer towards my goal? Because then I can present it to you guys. So that's why I might go wrong sometimes and tell you, oh, this is cool and this is awesome. Because it sounds really, really good and it sounds logical. But sometimes you have to remember to test it. So I am not saying that I don't do that mistake. That was an example of me doing that mistake. I should have presented that podcast episode more like, this is my perspective on things. Go ahead and try it out. I can't even remember if I did that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I feel as though I presented it as, this is the right way to do it. Go out and try it. But I can't remember. But anyway, regardless, it's important that you verify the shit for yourself. Everything that I say, verify it. Verify it. Now, it may be hard to verify every single thing, but verify it. Let's say I say intermittent fasting is good, and I make an episode on intermittent fasting and tells you all the benefits and what I experienced in my life. Well, that comes from first-hand experience, but for you to be able to take the things that I'm telling you and go tell it to your body, it's still going to be like you haven't verified what I'm saying is correct or not. Even though you talk to an expert, he might be saying some things that are not correct. And this is the key. You can verify it for yourself. Because if he claims, for instance, I claim to you that it's good and benefits and this and this and that, go out there and verify what I'm saying. Because that's the only way you will know whether it's good or not. Maybe it doesn't fit with your lifestyle, and maybe it does fit with my lifestyle. And that means that, oh, intermittent fasting would not be the most optimal way of eating for you. Or 6 meals a day may not be the most optimal because of your lifestyle, because there's so many things that goes into it. Now, I hope that you can digress from the specific examples that I gave you with intermittent fasting and 6 meals a day, because they are like two opposite end of the spectrum, but it was just to illustrate. It was just to illustrate that you have to verify for yourself, When you say, oh, I can give you another example, the Pomodoro technique with working 16 minutes and then taking 10 minutes off, and I think it's 15 minutes. I can't really remember that. But basically, the point where you time the amount of work, and then you take 1 hour work, 15 minutes of rest, 1 hour work, 15 minutes of rest, and then repeat those in cycles. Yeah, it may have shown that you're more productive like that and stuff like that. But seriously, try it out. Try it out. And that's the most important thing because you can only verify it by trying it out. And the funny thing here is you only get the results from doing the actual thing. From doing the actual thing. Because you can know a hell of a lot in training. And I've done that. I've done that. I've watched crazy amount of YouTube videos, like over 10,000 just on fitness, right? And read a ton of books. But at that time, I wasn't buff. I wasn't anything specific. I wasn't unique or any way. I just knew a lot about fitness. But the thing here is, what was happening here was I knew a lot, but I didn't experiment with it. I didn't actually do it. And that's a huge mistake, playing like you know it all. Because for me right now, I realize my ego and my thirst for being like better was by faking it. Or not faking it, because I wasn't conscious of that. I wasn't like trying to fake it, but my ego was preventing me from that because I realized that, okay, I read a lot of books, I do this, I do that, now I know a lot. No, you only know a lot when you have actually also experimented and done it and figure out for yourself what is the best way. Because when you experiment, you realize that, whoa, this lifestyle or this way of doing it was not efficient for me. Let me try and do something else. And now the studies, they don't really matter that much once you find something that works. I'm not saying that science is bullshit and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that you can use science as your guidelines. So if there is a compelling, very compelling studies and stuff like that, that shows that intermittent fasting is the shit and it's cool and it's good, or that 6 meals a day, or the keto, or whatever diet there is nowadays is amazing, then go ahead and try it for yourself. And don't try it for one day and expect results. For instance, intermittent fasting, you have to get used to it. You have to get used to it. So for me, it took like almost 2 weeks for my body to get used to it. And again, that's a fact. That's a fact for me, but not necessarily for you. Because now you might be saying, oh, okay, it takes 2 weeks to get used to intermittent fasting, right? I read that in studies. I've tried it, and it took almost 2 weeks. I think I did it less than 2 weeks, if I remember correctly. But the point here is verifying it. So don't just take my word for it. Verify that, oh, it takes 2 weeks for your body to get used to it, so it's not as hard with the hunger and stuff like that. So also, like, yeah, when you try something out, don't try for one day. Try for a couple of days or a week or two, and then you can actually get to use the method and you learn a lot about it. You learn a lot of your body. For instance, one of the things I learned from intermittent fasting is that hunger is something that goes away. If I'm hungry right now and I don't eat and I wait, it goes away. Like then you stop being hungry. I didn't realize that before. So I realized that, okay, hunger is just a signal, but that doesn't mean I can't have energy. Like I can be hungry and have a lot of energy as well. Like I can feel that hunger and still push through a really good workout. But those are the things, guys. The main point is don't check secondhand opinions, studies, or research for the truth. Go out there and verify the shit for yourself, especially if you're on your journey of becoming the strongest version of yourself, because there's only one way, and that's to actually do it. That's to actually do it. Doing the thing. Doing the thing. Do the thing and you'll have the power. That's all I have to say. Peace.